Hello, 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 hello. Can anybody hear me? Hello, hello, hello. Type in here if you can hear me. It would be great if you can hear me. All right, man. I'm a little pumped up. There's some things I'm happy about, some things I'm uh thinking about, some things I'm sad about. It's been one of those weeks where a lot of good has happened, a lot of bad has happened. Some things, small victories I'm celebrating, small things that made me mad, small things that I have relief about because they're resolved, things I've worried about you guys, things that you guys gotten resolved that made me feel better. And, I don't want to make everything just about the way we feel, right? But it's a good indicator of how things are going, right? And how our thinking is, right? If we have thinking that is, real and whole and clean and edified, and we live in the moment and we know what's going on, or if we realize that sometimes our thinking can be broken and we need to wait a little bit before we react to things, that type of growth, that's the kind of growth that I have. Everything's in timing, right? And I'm just very grateful for where we're at, because the things that are going great, they're going great, and the things that aren't going great, I see where they could be better, and that's all we can ask for, right? And praise Jesus, right? For erasing all this stuff for the next level. Oh, thank God for God, right? All right, let me turn off this music, man. This music, man. Now I'm addicted to it, to be honest. I like it now to this. I mean, I don't know why. I don't know why, guys. I have. Oh my God! Don't start that again. I almost clicked it again and started it all over again. Anyway, I'm in a silly mood. I did invite Stephanie on, but she couldn't come on, and I had a couple things to do, a family to take care of, and I asked Shannon to come on, and she was, she's dealing with some stuff, and so I don't know, unless one of you guys wants to join. It's just going to be a chill and chat, I guess. A chill and chat. And so one thing I was over it. Now, there's some people, right, that I watch on YouTube that I just don't understand. Like, I want to like them, and they say some good things, but then they go way off into the weeds, man. And it's crazy because there's this one guy that I watch. Oh, I'm so sorry that you're not feeling good. I wasn't feeling good either. And really, I should have went to the VA today to get my medicine, but I didn't. And so I'm gonna go in there tomorrow on the weekend to the emergency room if I have to and get my medicine, because I just could not go today. I felt yucky pretty much all day, and so maybe that, I don't know. Maybe we caught the same thing. It's I know there's no such thing as in my opinion, a contagion, a virus, right? But we're sick from something. Obviously, something got us sick. some kind of frequency or weird thing that they know how to do to us. Who knows? Watch we get to heaven and find out that they did all kinds of stuff to us just through remote controls and technology, that we just, there probably is like a fourth spatial dimension that we can't see that they know about, or I don't know, something crazy. Absolutely, Rowan. Thank you, Jesus, for the free gift of salvation. Yes, free to us at least, right? And yeah, I hope you get well, my brother. I hope you get well, Michael. And I would say just get as much rest as you can. Think of Jesus as your healer. And oh yeah, what stuff would you? Okay, so there's this guy, right, that I've been watching, right, that I want to like him, and he's a flat earther. He's a boxer, right? He's a fighter. He's a manly man, and he's a Jesus man. He's very passionate about Jesus, but he says some things, man. He was calling people the FAGGOT word, right? Which I'm like, wow, that's pretty. It's shocking, Not I don't know good or bad or whatever. That's not for me to decide, right? But shocking to me to hear that, right? And then he like broke down the etymology of the word, right? Meaning to gather up and to burn, right? To a bundle of sticks, right? It's a bundle of sticks for burning, a heretic. And I had no idea that that's what it meant. And so he was using the word in that way. But of course, we all know it in another way, like like a provocative word, of something that provokes, people's feelings, right? And we live in this generation of like people getting um offended. Oh, drop the link. All right, all right, all right. Someone is gonna be bold, man. Someone is gonna be bold. All right, all right, all right. We'll see what's going on. Who is about to join? Is it somebody I didn't see? What's going on? Uh um oh, is it Luke? Luke's gonna join? Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great. Back at it again. Who for Deb, so I can prepare a little bit. Yeah. That's great. That's perfect. That's the perfect end to this week, man, to be honest. Regarding the relations between God's providence and man's free will and the doctrine of election. Oh, is that what I am? Oh wait, am I a Calvin? I don't know I don't know what any of those are. I just know this, right? We all have, everybody has a decision, a free will decision to make. God, we owe one death, right? Wages of sin is death. So we owe one death, and Jesus paid that price. And so it would be just automatic and we would go to heaven for free. But God respects our human dignity enough to know that we're sentient creatures and gives us a choice if we want him as God and to be with him. So part of accepting salvation is him being in charge, right? Him being our Lord. So whatever that is, that's what I am. Romans 10:9. Confess with my mouth that Jesus is God. Accept his, sacrifice basically, and believe that he rose from the dead and ascended to heaven on his own authority, right? That's my belief. Hannah, you're the one that's smart about that kind of stuff. I would have no idea what I am. um, hey Luke, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Hey, hello, brother. How you doing tonight?
Hey, back at it again.
Back at it again.
Oh man, no, I'm about to find out if I'm a Calvinist or an Armenian, a Molinist, or a Thomist. I'm about to find out. Oh, what am I though, Hannah? If that's what I am, then what am I? I want to know. Now I want to know what I am because I've heard
Yeah, I
somebody
still
ask
get
me if
confused
I.
about like what each one of those mean.
Yeah, well, I was. She asked me the other day. I think it was she goes, no, she said, "You're a Calvinist, right?" And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "I don't even know what that is." Like, I've heard the term, right? I mean, I'm not
What
naive
I
to
think
these things.
Calvinist isn't like that predestination, or is that just one thing that they believe?
Yeah, so I don't get the whole predestination thing. Like, I do believe that God knows everything and that at the end he already knows what's going to be there. But I also believe that it's our own choice in the sense that just because if I'm a magician, right? I know this is kind of I wouldn't call God a magician, right? But I'm just saying if I'm a magician and I say, and I know the card you're going to pick, right? It doesn't mean that I'm picking the card for you. You're still doing that. Like it's still up to you.
Yeah,
I
it's
just
still
know.
your choice. I kind of get what you're saying. It's like sort of both in a way. God knows what you're gonna choose, but you're still choosing those choices in a way.
Yeah, his level of understanding is way deeper than ours, right? Like he can be everywhere and know everything. Because like I'm of this belief, right? You can't add anything to God. He knows everything. There's nothing I could say to God that he doesn't already know, right? And there's nothing I could take away from God. I can only do the possible moves that God knows I can make. It's like
Yeah,
a game of chess, right? Like he knows the game. The game can only turn out a certain number of ways, right? And based on that, right? Since there's only a limited amount of moves for us, it seems like an infinite amount of decisions, right? But to him, it's a limited amount of moves on a very simple board.
oh yeah, exactly. I mean, he knows our hearts, he knows our thoughts, he knows what we're gonna say before we say it.
I know. I mean, it makes it like it. So like when they start narrowing it down to like God knows like all the hairs on our head, right? Then of course he knows everything else, right? Like of course he knew that I was gonna drink too much at a party back in '85, right? Like I don't know, like when people like I heard one time, right? There was this football game. It was between the Packers and the Seahawks, right? And Aaron Rodgers, no, it was Russell Wilson threw this Hail Mary to the end zone, right? And the one one ref called it a touchdown and the other ref called it incomplete. And they huddled for a second, and then it came out, I don't know, the Packers way or something, I don't know, right? And so at the end, reporter goes to Aaron Rodgers. He goes, do you believe in, do you think that God was on your side or something like that? And he said, I don't think God cares about a football game, right? And in a sense, he's right. It's like not the highest priority thing, a football game, right? But God cares about everything. Like God cares about even a bug on that football field. Like he can care about everything and have infinite amount of time for you and your problems and everyone else. And like God's not limited to say, "Oh, I have to spend my time doing this or that." He can care about the football game because you never know what that football game who it will affect, right? Like that football team winning could affect so many different things, right? So many different variables, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it could be even like one of the fans watching it, and I don't know, like somebody who decided to go to the game, right? Could one of the fans could be like a born again Christian, right? And then they happen to like give the person a word while watching the game because there's a certain moment or some, who knows? But like that football game could lead to a lot of stuff. The football game in itself, is that important? No, but just like every single event and choice is like what God knows is going to happen, and that's His plan, the exact way that it goes.
Yeah.
So in that aspect, the football game could be important. And He's everywhere. So He knows what's going on through every single person seen.
So I guess predestination. Okay, I can see how people could get there. I still think it's just a fluid choice, right? For us, it's fluid, right? Because time exists for us, right? Like there is no such thing as from here to there in time. We're still here in this one space that we can exist in. It's not a distance from the 90s until now, right? We didn't go anywhere. We're still here, and so time only really exists for us, right? Like so, okay, predestination. I see how people can get there because God knows what's going to happen, right? But I don't believe that like that as a doctrine, right? I believe that we all choose, like it's up to us, If you don't want to, then it's on you. And I think it's fair for everybody. I think everybody gets a fair shot at it. Like if you like live in some country where you only hear the gospel one time, well then it's going to be like so profound, right? That like it'll match all the times that I've heard it. Like it will be as more impactful if you've heard it less or whatever. I think there's nuance to it like that basically at some point in your life you will get an opportunity and a fairness that like, do you want to go or not, and some
Right.
people are
Yeah,
going
I
to be
think I think it is fair. Sorry, you can keep going. My bad.
No, go ahead.
No, I think it is fair. I mean, there's even verses how he's introduced himself, gave you the word. I mean, even the Spirit of wisdom said every single day she's crying out loud, and people choose not to listen to that. And I think people have their opportunity to know God, even if it comes down to, it shouldn't come down to like someone on their deathbed, but somebody could have a vision right before they die, and that one time could be as profound as like the many like settle times someone else might have got the word and like grew stronger as their life went on. So I think no matter what the situation is, I think everybody gets a fair chance at some point.
Yeah, like I almost wonder sometimes because like there's been people that I've talked to that I know that they know that God is real and that the decision is basically, choose forgiveness and be excited about heaven. But there's something about them that like, and I'm not judging another person. I'm just saying like, and I've kind of been on the other side of this at one point in my life where you're doing something that you want to do and it's not exactly what you would have to do in order to have the belief that God is there all the time. You want to believe that He's not there, so you can feel good about what you're doing, And it's about like wanting to be in charge of your own destiny, wanting to be like I'm the decider of whether I'm good or bad, or whether I make that distinction, or I'm gonna do this, or pursue like women, or pursue drugs, or pursue drinking, or clubbing, or whatever their thing is, right? And I want to define right and wrong, right? Even though they know that salvation is accepting salvation and really waiting for the next life to enjoy it.
Yeah, I think that's why people get scared to take that leap of faith step, because they want to feel in themselves that what's right and wrong is their decision, and they want to justify their own decisions instead of taking that step. I mean, even it comes down to where one of my friends, he doesn't believe in God, but he did tell me once that he was doing a job where he was high up on the roof, and he said that he was really scared that he'd fall. He said that was the one time he prayed, and he was all right, but then he just kind of goes back to his ways again. So I mean, that story right there does show, though, if like you really believe in your heart, God will answer. If somebody who's atheist is just praying just to test God and say, "Oh God, are you here? Come on, show yourself in front of me," and just God has nothing to prove to you. God knows who He is. You know what I mean? So I think that's kind of like what it takes, is having that heart and like taking that leap of faith.
Yeah, and kind of like, how when we went from believing in the ball Earth to seeing that we live on a flat stationary Earth, like really God is everywhere if you're looking for him. Like I mean, it's obvious that somebody put us here, in this in this Earth, right? Like not on the Earth, in it. Like we're in a snow globe, like like it's obvious that God like is, because if there's no God, then this is really freaky. Then we're in real bad trouble, because then something less than God put us in here, and it's frightening. That would be frightening. Because then what do you? I don't know what the you know what I mean. What's the intention? If we're an infinite being, right, that's gonna die and keep coming back, and something less than God put us in here, like aliens or some kind of weird civilization or better people than us or whatever, and they're keeping us sick, I mean, that's frightening, man. That is frightening if you think about it. And to know that, because we eat up so many resources, right? And if there was no God, these elite people would probably just kill us. I mean, they don't really need us here, Like if there wasn't any rules, right, to the game, they would probably just wipe us out, all in one shot instead of just keeping us weak.
Yeah, really. And of course someone's calling, but anyway, yeah, that, and it's the fact that people, you would think, like you said, that would be scarier than just like trusting God, but for some reason people are intimidated to trust God, but they want to believe like any other supernatural thing, whether it's reptilians or aliens or having
Right.
like a Christ-like mind state through like the New Age Christianity that they teach people. It's almost like kind of like what the serpent like was trying to do to people, get someone to like think that in somehow in their way they can evolve to become like a powerful being. And like when you accept God, you're accepting that there's a higher power than you, and like you're never gonna be God, But like with these other teachings out there, it almost gives you like some kind of path where you can like get to that level,
I
which
wonder
is
what
this.
I wonder what this Buddha dude was like, man. Like, I mean, like, was he like? I mean, could he like levitate and like crazy stuff like that? I mean, you wonder how some of these people that were like super enlightened, that like, I don't know, could they float and stuff? I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, what was the desire to be? Because Buddha wasn't like a super attractive guy, All these statues got him looking kind of chubby, Like, there must have been something attractive about what Buddha did. I don't know, like what, like you wonder what's achievable, But then you hear all these horror stories, man, about people waking up with sleep paralysis and freaky dreams and crazy stuff happening in their house, and attacks. I mean, I wonder what the desire is to try any of that stuff, knowing that there's freaky stuff, man, that could happen to you.
Yeah, I don't know, but there's some kind of desire out there. That's why people mess with like tarot cards and see fortune tellers. It's like, I don't know, I think there's just something there where people want to find the answers, but they want to check any other path instead of just like following God. And maybe that's how some people wake up too. I followed a lot of different paths before I really tried to read the Bible and follow God with my heart.
So like what do you do mostly? Like what's your like like what have you decided to do kind of now that like we know what the world is, and of course we are interacting different than we are than our dreams were when we were younger, right? Um but like what have you decided to kind of do with your path, being a young guy? Like I was already kind of old enough to almost give up, and not be part of the world, kind of separate. But what's it like being a younger guy and accepting all this stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, each day I guess is kind of a challenge, but at the same time, I mean, it's nice sort of knowing a little bit of what's going on in this world. And, the fact that, I have faith in God is what really gets me through all this stuff that's going on. And I just try to be like, I guess not like the best I can be, but like, I just try to be there for people, like bring people comfort, try to be understanding of others. And, if I do feel like I could plant a seed or, show somebody something that might wake them up, then I try to take that opportunity. But at the same time, I don't completely go out of my way as much as I used to. I mean, I made the mistake when I was working like a couple jobs ago. I told people I believe the earth was flat. That was around that 2015, 2016 time where I was just so passionate about that. And then that kind of backfired because I got mocked over it. And so now I just kind of try to find the timing, because sometimes it doesn't even matter what you tell somebody. If you don't have the right timing or the right approach, then it's kind of like beating a dead horse,
I was like that with flat Earth too, man. Like I thought that like if I told people, I thought everyone was gonna be excited, like what? No way, dude! Is it real? Like I thought people were gonna like it was gonna spread because it was already spreading fast on the internet, and the very first person I told, right, became a flat earther like in a half hour, like I was like, oh, this is exciting, right? And I couldn't wait to tell everybody, right? I was fooled, right? But because of the first person I went to actually got it, And so imagine that, thinking that everyone was going to be like that. But I mean, my own mama don't even believe me, man. And it's crazy because it's the easiest thing to prove. It's just they won't look at it.
Yeah, it's literally one of the easiest conspiracies to prove, but one of the least that people want to look into and won't even give it the time of day. I wouldn't have probably looked into it, but I happen to be fortunate enough to be around enough people that said it. Like I've had probably 3 or 4 people bring up flat earth to me before I actually looked into it. And like once that happened, I'm like, all right, like let's see what this is all about. And it was easier back then because once you look into one video, you're getting recommended videos, you're finding actually really good information. It's not how it used to be. Now it's like to find really good flat earth content, you really have to do your research. You have to really look around for it.
Or you got to know somebody that's got like good playlists or whatever, like with all the Dubay videos and Jeranisms from back, 2015 Jeranisms. And because like part of it was like like at the time, like Jeranism and like I would say Eric Dubay to a certain extent, they sounded believable, like like I believed them when they talked. I was like, oh man, what they're saying is true, man. And you want to know what really stuck to me is Jake the Asshole, man. And I don't watch him anymore, really. I mean, once in a while I go there and leave a comment or something like that, just out of like kind of gratitude, But like he's not really my cup of tea. But I was watching one of his videos and he just looks in the camera, right? And he goes, "It's flat, dude. It's flat. It's flat." Like over and over again. And I'm like, oh man, it's flat, dude. Like what he's saying is for real. Like like it's true, man. Like the reason I believe it is because these people are telling me the truth. And then of course, I being a science guy, right? Like I of course fought it tooth and nail, right? But like I wanted to prove it every kind of way. Radio waves, math, particle physics, everything. I wanted I wanted to know it, all the things that everyone can do at home, like on their own, and everything that like scientists could do. And I wanted to try, to find that loophole. And it turned out I thought that flat Earth was like a bunch of like, things that were like technicalities that made it look flat or something. But in reality, it was the ball that was like using all these tricks and technicalities, and like the ball was the magic trick, And once you know how all the tricks are done, you know that it's not real, And people are still amazed with the magic tricks, but you know that it's not real, And you can't go back.
No, you can't. it's crazy how big of a deception it is, but once you really figure out the truth, the whole deception just breaks down, through every single aspect. Flat Earth would make sense, globe Earth doesn't even fit it. And it's like, how did that happen? You would think like within the first 5 minutes of looking at flat Earth, you're going to debunk it. But then next thing you know, you're looking at flat Earth videos the next few weeks, the next few months, and you're like, wow, I can't debunk this at all.
Yeah, like certain things stick out in your mind, like the first time you see that boat come back in the view, right? Or the first time you realize that how fast the Earth, they say, is going. And because I thought the Earth was just like, okay, the sun in the middle, and then the planets just went around it, and that was the whole thing, right? I didn't know that they're saying if you fly around the galaxy and you fly around the solar system, like all this stuff, right? I had no idea that all these different orbital motions, they say that we're like a corkscrew flying through the air. And then when I think it was Krauss, Professor Krauss, right, was showing like this like speck on this big screen, and all these planets and everything and stars, right? And there's like this little tiny speck, and he has like an arrow pointing to the Earth, going like, "That's the Earth right there." I'm like, "What? No way! Are we just a little tiny nothing?" Like, that would be like if we were like, a piece of dust in somebody's house or something like that. Like, insignificant, really.
Yeah, and that's why I think they push that lie. They want us to believe that there's all these other beings that are greater than us, all these other planets, and that we're just some forgotten, insignificant being that's in this randomness of like this ball just spinning around.
That's crazy, man. I mean, and like everywhere, because then like the main story, right, is that there's no life anywhere, that they've ever seen before, right? So basically, like, we're in just the exact right spot to have like just a little bit of water and a little bit of ice and a little bit of sun, and like we're not over roasting, we're not like, where did the water come from? Like, I mean, like, why, like like they want us to believe that like there's all this dust flying around, and we have like this one like tropical beautiful dust ball with plants and trees and cows, and it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine like a Earth flying around, a cow on it, just one cow? Even that's ridiculous, let alone all of us, boats,
Yeah, yeah, true.
boats going around the side of it, like boats going around the Earth like a belt, like like sideways. Like, oh my God, I can't get these visions out of my mind, man. Like,
Well,
it's
it's
just
like that
crazy.
magical word they use, gravity. That explains why boats could just stick to a side of a ball. That's why it explains why we can't feel us spinning 1,000 miles an hour. All these like things that they can't explain. They just say gravity.
That's it. That's it. Right. Balls go around each other. We stick to the ball. Dust turns into balls, right? We have moons, but not many moons, right? It's just crazy. But the thing that gets me is that everything is a desert wasteland except Earth, and we got like, some bushes and trees and bugs and animals, and like that. To me, that just is, they should at least have like 4 or 5 other places. They should say like, oh yeah, in another galaxy there's all these Earths, man, that one day
Well,
we'll
I
get
think they
to.
do say that. I think they do say that there's other like planets that look like Earth out there. Of
Oh
course, it's
really?
yeah, they do actually say that now.
That's crazy, man. They just keep adding stuff to the story, man. Because
Yep.
remember when they were talking about like the Black Swan and all that, right? And they were showing, obviously Nathan was showing like the Nathan and QE were showing that the horizon was way back, further than it could ever be, right? and all photos are like that. Really, it's not like the Black Swan is not special in that way, but it's special in the sense that it cleans up the argument, right, and a logical consistency. But like okay, since that time, right, that we've had the Black Swan, right? Now they talk about, oh well, there's a geometric there's a geometric horizon and then an optical horizon, right? Where I had one guy that was debating me. I think his name was Sean G. I don't know if you know who he is, man. But he
No,
was
I don't think I've heard of him.
we were debating over on Jose JG Gonzalez's channel, and he drew his own horizon in a photograph, like a photograph of, like, I mean, you can't just draw a line in there and say that that's part of the photograph, that that's where the geometric horizon is, that everybody knows that or whatever. I mean, when you get to the point where you're drawing your own line on a photograph, that's something's wrong with that, man.
Yeah, that's a bit of a stretch. I mean, it goes with too. Oh yeah, the horizon is flat, but you could see the curvature when you go up on a building, and then other people say, oh, you could see the curvature when you're on a plane, and it's like, but then when you check, you don't see the curvature in any of that, so it's like people get their stories mixed up, you know?
Yeah, I love it when you get guys like uh, what's his name, Neil deGrasse, right, where he's got to like eat his words, right, to the point where he's like, oh yeah, well, you know that guy Felix Baumgartner, you know, that jumped from like, you know, 100,000 feet up in the air, right, in a spacesuit, you know. And he goes, yeah, you don't see any curvature at that level, you know, because we have balloon footage, right, amateur balloon footage, right, of 130,000 feet, right, with no curve, right. So obviously they got to say it's higher than that. But here's the thing: if you can stand on a beach and see the curve, right? Like the whole idea of going, like, say you're on a basketball, right? And you can see like how it curves away from you. You should be able to see more and more of that curve the higher you go up, you know? But they're saying you see less and less of it. It's completely flat at 130,000 feet, but you could see it standing on the beach. That's so crazy. Like, why do people believe that, man? Like that alone, right, should be like, that disproves it right there. That's ridiculous, you know? It's
Right. And
ridiculous.
even like people saying how like, oh, you can see the buildings, way far back, and if you zoom in, like you can see it again, and it's not the curvature. On top of that, you should be able, as you're leaving and getting farther and farther away from the building, it should be like slanting, like more and more slanting until you can't see it no more. It
That's
shouldn't be
right.
straight up the whole time. It should be slanting back from your vision of sight.
Exactly. Tom brings that up all the time. He's like, look, it's got to be tilted back at a certain amount of degrees, you know, like because everything is going down and away from you, at 8 inches per mile square the distance. So that building should not only be going backwards, it should be tilting back more and more as you come back from it. It's just insane. It's insanity, man. And then like the best, okay, so you know how like if you fly a drone, right, at eye level, right, you know, it's like it's there if you're flying it by your head, right, and you're watching the sunset, right. I mean, the sun is moving for you because they say that the Earth is tilting back, right, or spinning or whatever, right. But if the drone is off the ground and not touching anything, right, like it should be that the sun isn't moving at all, because the Earth should be moving, not the sun. But the sun still is moving away, just like it would be for you. So that should show you right away, right, that like, okay, well, obviously it's the sun that's moving, right? And but they say that the wind and the air is attached to the Earth, right, and is pulling the drone 1,000 miles an hour in a circle.
Crazy,
That's,
man.
that's dumb, dude. That's dumb.
It goes back to not trusting your senses, like I was saying, how you don't feel yourself spinning 1,000 miles an hour. The horizon looks perfectly flat. The sun looks like it's moving. Maybe those are actually the case, and it's not these scientists and so-called experts telling you something else. I mean, I even like where I've heard the Bay actually say this one, where if you fly a helicopter up in the air and just stay there, you would think you could just wait for your destination because the Earth is spinning. Or you go the opposite of the 1,000 miles an hour and get to your destination quicker. If you're flying an airplane, you don't have to you could go to space through an airplane with their theory, because you could just keep going straight, because if you want to stay in the Earth, you have to do like a constant nosedive every little once in a while to get through the curve. If you were flying straight, you would just go straight to space according to their model.
That's right, man. It's crazy. I mean, would you ever get in a hot air balloon knowing that only air molecules were holding you to the Earth? Like, this Earth is taking off, man. Would you ever leave the Earth? I'd be afraid the Earth would take off, man, and we'd be stuck in this like nobody ever like is in a hot air balloon like real high up, because they say gravity gets weaker the higher you go, right? And so you're only held by these little air molecules that are not bonded, right? There's no bonds between gas particles. So like this Earth could just fly off out from under you, man. You know what I mean? You never hear that, right? It's always these hot air balloons. They land right in the same spot you took off or close to it. You go up there, have lunch, eat some cheese, drink some wine, right, and come down, and you're all good, right? That would never happen on a flying Earth, man.
Oh no, man! It's hard to even imagine that. It would be complete chaos. It's especially with water. Water is always level. Water would just be all over the place. There'd just be waves and waves of water just slushing through the Earth, and it would be absolutely insane.
Well, because I mean, if you ever built anything, right, everything on Earth that has ever been built has been leveled with water, either with a water level or with a little spirit level or whatever. It's liquid, right? Because the liquid's the only thing you can guarantee that is going to be flat, right? I mean, that's widely known, right? That like liquids are flat. So everyone uses either a spirit level with the little bubble in it, or a water level or whatever. So every building, right? If it was off by any, right? Even if it's millimeters or inches or whatever, right? The whole world would be all lopsided, man. I mean, those things are a big difference, right? I don't understand how people could believe it. I mean, like once it's pointed out to you, it's time to grow up, man, and it's time to accept that. I know it's hard, and I'm not better than anybody because I was fooled too. I was into space and think, oh man, this is great, man. There's supernovas and all. I used to think that was all great, man, and rocket ships and all that. I loved it, right? But it comes to a point where you're like, okay, I need to be a man. I need to grow up, be a man or woman, whatever, and grow up and accept that we've been lied to, and that like you hear about North Korea and how their little dictator or whatever, like brainwashes them into thinking he can walk on water and talk to dolphins and all this stuff, right? Well, that same kind of thing's happening to us. We're not any better than those people, and everywhere you go, they probably tell their little country different stuff. There's probably a few countries that are all together that have the same bull crap, but some countries probably have a whole different set of bull crap, that they're being told. Like we got to accept that we don't know anything. They've hidden everything good, and financially, resource wise, food wise, air wise, everything, right? They've hidden everything good from us. They hate us, and God is going to come get us out of here.
Yeah, pretty much, man. I mean, that's spot on. I mean, the good thing with the flat Earth too, once someone is able to wake up to that, I think that does help build you up to be more open-minded with all these other things going on, where like Transgate and staged events and stuff like that. So it does help someone become like better with their discernment and able to critically think and analyze for themselves, you know, if it makes sense or not, you know. And too many people just have that blind faith where they follow man and they get hooked into these other rabbit holes. And I think that's what it's there for. You know, imagine how many people would believe, you know, the flat earth if there wasn't all these gatekeepers and all these other things that keep us distracted, and, you know, all these Universal Records with the music, you know, Universal Studios with the movies, globes in every single classroom. I mean, they constantly every single day have to repeat these lies because their lie is that ridiculous. But the fact that we're fed this every single day, people are that programmed. I think they get scared because I think deep inside, somebody doesn't want to look into it because they know that deep inside that everything they learned is a lie and they can't handle that red pill.
Ah, it's tough. It's tough, man. But guess what time it is, my brother?
It's time for me to go to bed. It's time to hit the old dusty trail.
It's time to hit that old dusty trail. Yes, it is. Thank you so much, Luke, for coming on, man. These shows fly by when you're on, man. It's always a pleasure, man.
Yeah, I always appreciate talking to you too, man. It's amazing how much this channel has grown and how close we've all gotten, and I'm just excited to see where it all goes from here, you know.
It's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing, man. You're a big part of that too, man. So I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you, buddy. God bless you, and hope the people that are on the chat and all that, you know, just know that I'm gonna try to keep you guys in my prayers. That we're all brothers and sisters, and we need to be there for each other. And, you know, iron sharpens iron. So, you know, if anybody needs anything, you know, I want to be there, and I hope they do the same for me. And I hope, you know, we're just getting one day closer at home. I hope we all see each other on the other side, and I'll have a little get together.
Wise words, my brother. Praise Jesus for his sacrifice and his grace. All glory to God because he deserves it. And please pray for the children and anybody being victimized out there. And I will see you guys tomorrow at 7 a.m.